Thank you so
You
much.
said your name is?
I'm
Remind me of your name.
Rawkus. I'm Rawkus.
Rawkus.
Welcome back inside the number one show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here with us on TTT this morning. I have with me online Rhonda Hackett, who's the chairperson for PEACE, PEECE, and that's to provide equivalent and equitable compensation for everyone. Good morning to you, Rhonda.
Good morning also, and I would like to say good morning to your listening audience, all within the virtual world. Thank you for having me on your morning show.
Not a problem, Rhonda. So tell me, what is your organization all about? When was it started and why was it started?
Okay, so the name of my organization is PEACE. PEACE stands for to provide equivalent equitable compensation for everyone. Now, this organization was birthed in 2018 during the period when we were first informed of this compulsory land acquisition within the Bonaccord Crown Point area. And the purpose for forming the organization was primarily to provide residents with a voice and to seek after the well being and best interest of persons in the community as it relates to compensation, relocation, and those matters.
All right, so this has been your company has been around since 2018. You're saying, right?
Yes,
All
that's
right. So
correct.
you've been actively participating and seeking the best interest of the residents of Crown Point. How has that process been going so far?
Well, the process has had many different hurdles to overcome. It has been pretty rugged, and even to date, where you should you should have gone through that phase of where you go through grief and mourn and come to realization and acceptance, etc. Unfortunately, this journey has not quite been that, and it's as a result of the unfortunate unwillingness and lack of desire by the state, and to be precise, the government, to treat with residents, Tobagonians, in a really peaceful, amicable way to ensure that the properties that are being taken from them is being done in a fair and humane manner. And even to today, where residents are being threatened now to be expelled from their homes, we have found very little support, and it has been a painful journey.
All right. So a couple of things for me that you raised there just now. So I know that the government said that over $210 million has been allocated, and in some cases already paid out to some of the residents who've been asked to relocate. I know that the THA has been on board as well, trying to support in terms of finding storage and finding alternate uh, rental properties, as well as assisting in the permanent transfer. So can you explain to me a little bit further in terms of what you mean by people not being, treated fairly? Because I'm trying to understand. I'm seeing all this money jumping around. I don't know exactly how much was allocated to each person. I assume it would be based on the land size, the house size that you would have had before. I know that there were some challenges in certain cases, but in terms of being forced to move out and in terms of being not treated fairly, I know that the case also went to court, and it was a court order that said it has to happen by X date. So, explain a little bit further to me in terms of the treatment and what you're
Okay.
challenging.
So you have expressed that over 200 million has been paid towards compensation. Now, if you just look at that figure, for just the figure, it may sound as a whole lot of money. But if you put this figure now within perspective of the amount of lands that are being acquired, 54 plus acres, and now they are only paying attention to the 54 acres, there is also another section that comprises about 12 plus acres of land that they also intend to acquire, or they may want to say reacquire. Either way, it was not done properly in 1996. And so consider this whacking sum of land being acquired, And this is in a prime area of Tobago. It is in Crown Point. It is within estate where you have the airport, industrial land use. It is in an area where you have a lot of tourist related attractions and sites and guest houses and many different commercial activities. And the persons to whom these lands are being taken from have actually been plying different commercial trade. The THA in its former disposition had encouraged this community to engage in bread and breakfast practices. And so many persons have actually applied this trade and were
Mm-hmm.
practicing these commercial activities. So their sum of money is totally inadequate for the area and the type of activities that were being practiced. And so persons have been grossly underpaid and their valuations have not been honored. There has been the consistent practice of cutting persons' valuation report in half and less than half its worth. What has been practiced by the state is to give persons values for properties to which they cannot rebuild today. So as opposed to giving you the value that it will cost you to rebuild your homes, they will give you a depreciated value that perhaps it would have cost you to build way back when you first constructed those homes. So most persons who have already left have found themselves drawing monies from their own pockets to pay rent, to complete their structures. And you could do your own homework if you wish. Go to Shervan and look at the structures that should have been constructed and completed since 2020, and you will see that you have buildings that are still being struggling to complete. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to take my word for it. Evidence bears that persons have not been compensated adequately, and the current THA have inherited this issue. And to date, the residents who are currently in the area are expected to have evacuated by today. Today is the 15th.
Yeah.
According to the state, they have indicated they will exercise their political muscle and power and will be seeking to evict persons from their homes if they still remain tomorrow. The reality is the timeline and time frame that was given is totally inadequate. There is a family, for example, they have about 7 persons in their home. It consists of 3 households, and the monies that they are being offered is within the range of 6,000 to 9,000 for rental. When they call around, the figures that are being quoted is $10,000 and $15,000 for rental. So when I say unfair treatment and inadequate compensation, these are the things I'm speaking about. There's a family that has been plying a trade in terms of the commercial rentals, etc. They have up to 9 apartments and they are fully booked for the carnival right down to Christmas, and there is no consideration whatsoever. And we are being told this is for development. They have not even been considered in terms of the futuristic development for the island, for Tobago and this area with regards to all that is taking place. And now, if it is, you are saying that this is for the greater good of Tobago, and these persons have been actively involved in this economic development of the island. We have persons from Norway and other European countries that they have as long-standing customers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to not ensure that these relationships are maintained and that persons who would have supported Tobago's prime economy, which is tourism, you have been undermining this operation in this part of Tobago, then one cannot truly say that what is being done is contributing development. Development is a total process. And so if you are crippling persons who have been producing and contributing to the country's economy, and you have not catered for them with your relocation process, then clearly it is not a true form of development. Increasing a country's GDP and not ensuring the GDP per capita is also increased and maintained, it is not true development. So
All right.
persons who are
Rhonda,
not,
Let me sorry to cut you. I am hearing the passion and I
So,
appreciate it so very much. But we're unfortunately out of time this morning. And I thank you so much for
okay.
coming and sharing this perspective because I think it gives us a clearer picture as to what's happening on the ground and how people are responding to what's happening and all that. So thank you very much for joining us this morning and for sharing this perspective with us.
Now, before I leave, I would just like to leave these closing words. The government is planning to exercise its political muscle. These are the people who have walked around in the past and indicated that they are to serve their brothers and sisters. And now we are seeing where Tobagonians are being threatened to be put out on the road. They have not been paid any compensation money, or area representative or parliamentary representative, to be specific, has been indicating that these residents have been paid. This is erroneous information, and misleading the public in this way is grossly irresponsible. And I am encouraging Tobagonians come out and fight and support for all liberty. We have just
All right,
celebrated independence, and I am
Rhonda.
saying, let us do what is just and right. Thank you for the opportunity. I know I'm out of time,
Yes,
and
thank
I
you
pray
very
that
much, Rhonda.
justice will be served. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Rhonda. We take a quick break and come back with more. Stay tuned.